Welcome to VLearn. This is session number 3, the part 1 on software quality and testing. In this on the topic of types of testing, in this session we are going to cover topics types of testing. They are black box testing, white box testing, gray box testing, alpha testing, beta testing, unit testing, system testing, acceptance testing, configuration platform testing, localization testing, integration testing, usability testing, performance testing, load testing, stress testing, and functional testing. Why are we going to basically start to all these different type of testing? As you know, in the software there is a very important role of the testing, because the soft testing is only that provide a quality in the software and the satisfaction that meet, and the mainly thing is that to improve the quality of a software we need a lot of this testing very required to make the software more better and the quality that is required by the customer. So basically here the testing is to ensure the appropriateness of understanding need and the correctness of the corresponding deliverable, which could be a system, product or service. To understand the outcome of learning process, where delivery of output is an outcome of the process understanding. So there are the multiple way of testing to ensure appropriateness, correctness in following this. In this all different testing we are going to cover in this session. Let's the first is the mention is the black box testing. This testing is done to ensure the validity of the software application without the need of for having its internal structure exposed. During the testing, the program code is not available, but the executable module is used. Basically, we do the here black box testing as its name implies that internal black, that is means hidden. Here the code is of the software is hidden from the point of the tester. It check only gives some possible input to the system and check the corresponding output is validated or not, whether it want what he want to get is correct or not. So in this case the tester doesn't check the coding area, it just check the all different possible if input as and the correspondingly output it get. So in detailed test plan, that is the proper test environment is required here, and the black box testing method is used in the most of the applications to ensure the business function are accurately working here. So this was the basic about the black box testing, and the next is the white box testing. In this white, this is name is appear that some everything is appear here. The code and coding area is basically here visible to the tester. So in this the tester should be basically bit knowledge have about the coding also. That as was in the black box was not needed to the tester to be knowledge about the coding. So here in the white box we tester test the all coding area as well. So it is a method to test the software utilizing its internal structure. To complete the code structure is available during test, and normally programmer use this method to find the error at the program level and which help in debugging. That is, this also help in understanding the behavior of the program, code review and data flow, and the code level test is design. Let's see what's the slide show and tells about the white box testing. It say the because in the white box testing you know the internal structure. There is a coding language here. In the coding there is something programming language in which we use some statements like conditional statements here, and we ensure that from the starting to end the every statement should be covered up in the testing at least once time. So here the program use the method to find the error in the programming level by the help of debugging. So debugging is the process to check one by one all executing the every line of the coding and to find out that if there is something error it present here. So it's the way to find out the error by line of the code, and this also help us to understand the behavior of program code review and data flow. Data flow is here, the data can be start from the beginning to end, but there are the many different paths to data we can reach to the end point. And there is not only one way through which data can start from the starting point to end point. So data flow can move from the starting to end from various different paths. This was here about the basic introduction about the white box testing. Next is here about the gray box testing. In the gray box testing, that is the high level of abstraction. That abstraction means here it hide the internal detail and present the as necessary details. That is the basically meaning of the here abstraction. So here a higher level of abstraction and less comprehensive as compared to white box testing. That was here in the gray box. So it involved business case testing. Involved the business case testing with the part of internal structure exposed. So here used to test the software through some understanding of internal and is like to looking under hood. That is here. That is to be as compared to white, this the abstraction level is here less, and the testing is to be part of your internal structure is that is to be exposed over here in the gray box testing, and that is done through the using understanding all internals part here. Next is here alpha testing. Alpha testing a person other than the developer that carry out the testing in the house and at various project milestones. Since a third person tests the software, a detailed test plan must be provided here. Because that's the developer who developed the software that he is unaware what he did the mistake in this developing. So here the another person rather than the developer who tests what mistake is done in his software, and means here the third person tests his mistakes, that is in the alpha testing. And here the beta testing here. In the beta testing, that is testing is to be conducted by the end user, either to after on or parallel with the system using. Here the user who are the ultimate owner of the software will be tested to the system before to deployment, and the error will be reported back to the developer. Here the not necessary that the developer be to be tested, and the developer here to check what is their mistake, and the parallelly end users are also tested here the mistake of the software that is to be done, and to provide the quality of the software as per required. So for example, you can take here the Microsoft Windows 2000 was to release a set of user worldwide for a limited duration for beta testing. All the users were using earlier version of Microsoft operating system. So goal is to test the product by the end user in all respect here. This was here about the beta testing. Let's move in the next testing type is the unit testing. Unit testing also basically in the unit testing that cover the very small function like testing. It check the very small part of the program test here, like a program that code contain a function and a logical statements here. So when it check the logical statements and the function module, this is the kind of testing is the under unit testing. So where in the both black box testing and the white box methods are to be used to test a module against its design specification immediately after its design. So this is normally done by the developer or another programmer. So here in the unit testing is important and mandatory for all software modules. Next is the system testing. As after that unit testing is done, there is very necessary to before to release the software system testing. That is a pre-deployment testing to verify whether the developed system meets the requirement specification or not by simulating the target operational environment. So this is to verify whether system is production ready or not. So in the system testing, this is basically to check whether the working system is over the system is correctly or not. But before the system testing, it is very necessary to test the integration testing. After the unit testing, that is also part of the check the combined form of all module together to check the system is working or not. So basically, I would like to tell you something about the overall integration of testing, where the developer tests the system after the integration and the large scale of the business. It is very necessary to integrate many modules to develop different people other than it is integrated and the same has to test is known as the integration testing. So then after that we move to the system testing. So we have to check the complete whether it's working on the system or not. After that we can provide to the customer any software. Let's move to next of the testing is here the acceptance testing. In the acceptance testing, where in the carries out the system testing before finally accepting the system as meeting his stated requirement. As the name indicate here, acceptance means the at the point of the customer what he want is getting or not. So the customer carries out the testing what he want is actually getting here or not. So this is the normally done by the customer side. So customer in association with the developer, here the acceptance testing is must for all the system. They will test the software with the real data and confirm the software system for the correctness. This was the about acceptance testing. Next is the configuration platform testing. In the configuration platform testing, there is some time of the system may have to work with different platform like Windows 2000, NT and Unix. This was the taken the basic operating system on which that sometimes the system may be work on the different platforms. So in this such case, the system has to be tested on all the different platform. After the system testing, that is very required to check the all different platform either it's working or not, and maybe created the sometime problem in the software on different platform. So in which the system will be ultimately used, it is to be ensured that system functionality to be across here. So to be different hardware software configuration, to be multiple versions of operating system, different version of browsers, various plugins or external components, and different local conditions are here. So to check the software to be should be done on the different platform because of their as the platform to be changed and the system to be changed because of the different hardware and software get changed. So sometimes the software may create the problem to maybe ensure that it should be not have to be any problem on the different platform, and maybe the different version of the software system operating system can create the problem. And different version of browsers also you have seen here some files that not support of different browsers, some version are to support on particular browser. So these are the very necessary to be confirmed here to be check whether the software is working all different platform on here or not. Next is here localization testing. In the localization testing, here all the system need not to be interfaced or mapped onto English language. In some countries English may be used, and in such case the system has to be developed both in English and customized the local language. So this type of testing is to ensure the software that localization does not affect software functionality. So as you know that English the language is mostly in the way used to be customer satisfaction, that not to be problem here. So system here to be developed in both English and as well as customized local language to be comfortable for the customer. So this type of testing to ensure that software is localization but does not affect the software functionality. To ensure the appropriateness of the logistics and the local changes are to be here to maintain the properly. So this was about the localization of the testing. Next is the internationalization testing. In the internationalization testing, to ensure that the software is able to operate with local language and data. That representation including those things multi-byte character sets here. That means the software have to be different languages I already discussed in the last type of testing that include the use of multi bytes. So the different of bytes character sets may be created sometime problem because according to language it to be changed here. So need to be here to maintain here, that is to be checked here in the internationalization of testing. Let's see the next testing is here the usability testing. In the usability testing, to test the effective user interface for the system and by considering the human factor and done by ergonomic experts, Basically this is the interface that the person to whom it will interacting to extract the data to be very effective. As you can consider example, if you are interacting with the ATM machine, there is a user interface easily through which you are entering the amount and you extract it to get it here. So it's a very user friendly environment through which you can easily extract as per your need. So to test whether the user interface is the working correctly or not, to test effective user interface for the system, and to consider it human factor, that is done by ergonomic expert here. So normally to kind of test is to perform by using checklist approach for modern software system. So the type of testing is the very mandatory here. Next is the performance testing. In the performance testing, here the application are to be tested to ensure expected efficiency, which includes parameters such as response time, resource utilization, and reliability. That is very necessary to check any performance of the software, whether it's working on the response of the time or it's delaying here, and the proper utilization of the resources are here done or not, and reliability. These are the very important factor to check the performance of any software. So if we test all this, then that we can check make sure that the system is working properly or not. Let's say the next is the load testing here. Basically load testing is the means that if you are giving any data beyond its limit, so what effect basically done on the software, whether it's hang or not. So here in the system utilization is normally depend on the number of user. As I hope you see that if there is a many user are working on a system at the same time, sometimes efficiency get this low. So why this happen? So this is very necessary. To more user on the system, more is the pressure or load on the system. But how to ensure that developed system is still capable for handling more load? Load testing is here to check how much overload to be can be handled here. Load testing, that tests server and hardware system by applying load and defined by the workload to yield a required performance characteristics like response time, throughput, and resource utilization is to be done here. This was about the load testing. Next is here the stress testing. Stress testing, it is the another form of load testing. Here it is similar to the load testing basically, but it's a constraint over the environment, which involves stressing the server beyond the expected load and verifying the behavior of operation characteristics is on the application, is working here or not. That is basically checking on the application it is working or not. Then the stress, it's again to checking verify basically what is the behavior to be changed after a load, after a large amount of the load over the software. So this kind of operation that is check over the stress testing. Next is here the functional testing. Basically functional is very similar to the black box in which the code is unaware. So wherein the system under the testing is subjected to verification against its functional behavior as laid down in the requirement document, and functional behavior is normally collected to the requirements gathering stage and the same will verified during the functional testing. So however, the method used for functional testing may be different, like white box or black box method. So what basically this topic say about in the functional testing, it's verify that whatever the behavior of each function that is included in the software is to working or not. Here to lay down about the requirement of all document, and the function will check the collect as per requirement that want by the customer is to be verified here or not in the functional testing. So for in the functional testing that can be used either different type of black box and as well as white box testings can be used here. Next, this is the exercise that you can try it by yourself, and this is the question that what is the internationalization testing and what is difference between alpha testing and beta testing. This is all about today's session. Now we are winding up here. Thank you so much. Happy learning. We learn.